Good afternoon. Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton Daily Live. But on a Monday, we'll start doing a little bit of a recap of the Premier League as well. And obviously then we will be talking about Everton as well. So let's have a look at the results from the weekend in the Premier League. James will put them up for us now. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Manchester United 2. Richarlison getting booked again for taking his top off. Everton 2, Fulham 0, we know all about. West Ham 3, Burnley 2. Sunderland 2, Arsenal 2, Chelsea 3, Wolves 0. And then on Sunday, we had Aston Villa 4, Bournemouth 0, Brentford 3, Newcastle 1. Crystal Palace and Brighton drew 0-0. Nottingham Forest beat Leeds 3-1. And then Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. There you go. Let's have a look at what that done to the league table then. Is the bottom half of the table. Wolves still struggling at the foot of the table, but obviously Forest and West Ham closing the gap on those above them now with those important wins. Then come Burnley, Leeds, Fulham, who Everton beat, Newcastle, then Everton up. You know, look at the Toffees there, flying up that table. Brentford, and then Brighton in the top half, the top of the table. Obviously Arsenal conceding a late goal to Sunderland. Stopped it being the perfect weekend for them with Liverpool losing, of course. Then comes City, Chelsea, Tottenham are in there with, who's that, United? Sunderland, isn't it? Sorry, it's so small on the screen. Aston Villa, United then. Then we've got Liverpool, who were just 3 points ahead of Everton at the moment. Bournemouth and Crystal Palace. Ped,
hello.
We will come on to Everton, obviously, in a minute, but just over the weekend there in the Premier League, Richarlison receiving more dislike from Tottenham fans because he keeps taking the shirt off, keeps getting booked.
He's got nice tattoos.
Yeah, he's got good tattoos, but he's got to learn his lesson, hasn't he? They're blaming him for so long at the time. Costa lit the goal because he took his shirt
yourself.
off. I mean, what you could do is just mark the lit, who's on his own. Might be an issue. But United are on even though that fella's never getting his hair cut, United are on a decent little run now under Amarim. Have they turned the corner? They've got us at home next, obviously.
Yeah, they're doing all right, aren't they? They're doing all right. They're not amazing. They're just grinding out results. I think more than anything, they just seem to be grinding out results.
Got some goals.
Showing a bit of backbone. Spurs
can't win at home. One home win. They won against Burnley and haven't won since. Thomas Frank getting a little bit of criticism, but they are brilliant away. So if you can get the home form right, it'd be all right. Obviously, when you look over the weekend, Arsenal going to Sunderland, playing really well. Sunderland hanging in there. Went ahead, a great goal from Ballard, put them ahead. But then, I mean, Trossard's goal, absolutely unbelievable goal. Reef of the net, the sickly boy, as you call him. And then Arsenal will be devastated, won't they? They're ahead. It's in, late on. What's the goalkeeper doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know they're saying Gabriel had the shirt pulled and it was a foul. But if the keeper stays on his line, it's a simple catch for him, and Robbie just knocks it over him. And then Calafiori still should have won it for Arsenal.
Yeah.
He come forward, he's got a free header at the far post. Head it down, you've scored, and he heads it straight at the keeper. Arteta will be gutted with that only solely.
Well, we've got a 2-team title race now, haven't we?
It looks that way.
Yeah.
It looks that way.
Feels that way as well.
Feels that way. Feels that way.
Two quality sides.
Chelsea hanging in there. Watched them a bit on Saturday night. Destroyed Wolves. 3 could have been well more. Wolves look like they are banging trouble. Yeah. Rob Edwards looks like the favourite for that job. Although Robbie Keane threw his ass in, hadn't he, over the weekend?
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Still got the trackie.
There you go. Give him a go.
Still got the trackie.
And then when you look on Sunday, obviously great result for Villa, beating Bournemouth 4-0. Bournemouth missing a penalty at 2. Martinez making 2 or 3 unbelievable saves, really. And then a little Ross Barkley header.
Back header, yeah.
And then Malin making it 4-0. So big result for them. They definitely have turned the corner. Certainly at home. Aston Villa, haven't they? Done a great run. Onana scored a cracker as well. Didn't he? And then you'd have to come to Liverpool at Man City, the half 4. They were well beaten, really. Well beaten. I know there's a bit of controversy about Virgil van Dijk's goal. Erling Haaland had already missed the penalty. And Doku missed a couple of chances. But, I mean, how do you see the Van Dijk goal?
I think it was a goal.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think it was a goal. I think, if we're going to start disallowing goals like that, I don't think he was in his eye line. I think he ducked. I think, if I'm being honest, I thought it was a goal. So, like, it's different from, like, obviously the one that got disallowed for us, the Dewsbury Hall one, Barry motions towards the ball.
Doesn't get near it though.
No, he doesn't, but he still motions it.
Clear.
He forces the defender to make a decision, and the defender makes a decision. So I can understand why that's offside. But this one, no, I don't think it's offside. I think if you look at the whole thing, football wise, I think if we're going to start disallowing goals like that, then we're in trouble. To be honest.
Yeah, fair play. I thought it was. I thought the Dewsbury Hall goal was a goal. Barry just lifted his foot up. It was nowhere near him, and the goalkeeper had a clear sight of it.
No,
so.
But he tries. He lifts.
Robertson's in it.
No.
I'm not having it.
He gestures towards trying to play the ball, and he forces the defender to play the ball.
We'll go back to Jake O'Brien's one the other week then, which was even less of an infringement than what.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the point, though. You got to go by the law, not by each decision.
Well, that's why the goal's been disallowed yesterday, because McGallagher just saw the law there. Robertson is stood by the goalkeeper, and the ball goes towards him, and he's offside, and he's miles offside.
Doesn't go towards him.
Right,
it doesn't.
No, I'll get it up.
It goes in. It's the same as Gilfie's goal. The goals. If we start, I know where it goes, but it doesn't.
It goes towards him. If you accept it goes towards him, I'll shut up.
Yeah, it's a goal.
Because it does go towards him, which is what he's done.
He ducks.
It doesn't matter if he ducks.
No, I know,
the ball,
but just because it's Liverpool, it's a goal.
16 yards offside.
It's a goal.
Yeah, fair play. It's 100% not a goal, but because the scoreline said 3-0. So there you go. Fair play. I just think if you disallow Jake O'Brien's, then that's 100% offside, this one, because it's even worse.
Yeah, no, but you can't. We're not going from that. We're going.
No, I am.
We can't judge.
I am, because that's what I hate about
this. Is what happens in football too often. You've got to go back to and look at the whole thing. It's like saying, well, that should be given handball because that should be given handball. But the original one wasn't handball. It's a mistake by the referee. If you just look at it as these things as mistakes by a referee, it's for me it's a goal. And if that got taken off us, I'd be very, very disappointed. That's the way I always look at it. If we score that goal, to me, that's a perfectly good goal.
Listen,
that's the way I look at it.
I just think if you've got people in front of a keeper who are offside, ducking out the way, if they're not interfering, he shouldn't be on the pitch, and he's interfering.
But that's not how football works now, is it?
No, it's. I mean, someone just said, Kieran has just said the Dewsbury Hall goal revoked my fury about the winner in the derby at Anfield, about motioning when the lad's 50 seconds.
Yeah, exactly, but that's the point though, isn't it? The one in the derby is wrong. That's what I'm saying. It's not. We do this in football all the time, where we look at past things. Two wrongs don't make a right necessarily, and that's the thing. To me, Barry is offside because he moves his leg, and the defender plays the ball. If Barry doesn't move his leg, then he's not offside. It is real fine moments in football now, and I think for me, I just thought the referee got it wrong.
Fair play. Needs all sorting. Just make it that easy. If you're offside, give it offside regardless. The easiest way to do it. Because next week that'll be given probably for Liverpool when he'll be 84 yards offside, but it'll still be always offside when it's us. Everton, good performance on Saturday from the very first whistle. Fulham couldn't get out their own box, never mind their own half for the opening 10 minutes. I was laughing because Zach went on to one of the things and took a screenshot after 9 minutes. Everton had 88% possession.
Yeah.
Because they just kept giving us the ball back, didn't he? But it was a really good start, wasn't it? I mean, he made change to the team.
Yeah.
Kept Barry in, which he should have done. Put James Garner right back, which made a massive difference, of course. And Irabuno coming in was a little bit of a surprise, but I thought he did really well.
He did all right, yeah.
And it was one-way traffic all day, really, wasn't it? Pickford had a couple of saves. Yeah. The one from Moon, as he should save all day long. And the other one kept his concentration for Traore. And other than that, it was one of those home wins that I've been looking for years. Just a routine, could be 6 or 7. They don't really do anything. And you never really worry about it.
Yeah, they were They were there to be taken, and we took them. Yeah, it was a good win, a good solid performance. He made the changes. I'm surprised by Tim Erabunum. Didn't really. Moises, I just can't really fathom out what Moises is trying to do at times now. He just seems to be just swapping and changing players all the time in that midfield.
Do you not think it was because Erabunum drives forward with the ball, and so he thinks that?
Maybe. Maybe. It's not who I would have played. I would have played 2 ahead of him. I still feel Carlos Alcaraz is massively unlucky not to be in the Everton team when there's a space in there. And Marlon Rowley was so close to being in the team. But he put him in, and that's fair enough. And it was up to him to take it. So yeah, he had a decent game, no issues. And it was a lot better. We were a lot more balanced as a team. And the irony is, Garner probably seen more of the ball playing at right back than he does playing in centre midfield. He's a lot more creative, and we didn't panic when he had the ball, or he'll play that lovely ball down the line to get Barry in a few times to get him running against them, and I think it really helped. It really did help the team. Yeah, I think it was important.
Well, he played really well, didn't he?
Yeah,
he played really well and got us on the front foot, comfortable in the ball. It was so obvious we could give it to the right back, and he'd keep. He'd keep the ball for us. And, no disrespect to Jake. Because he's done a good job and come in and done, he was a centre-back playing right-back and done a decent job for us. But certainly games like Saturday, I said last week, this was almost the perfect game for Everton, and it was up to Everton to take charge of it, because they are a good footballing side, but they're open. And it was whether we could get on it. And we did get on it, and he helped us do it, James Garner. Put some good balls, and I just think a few times, I just wish he'd put the first time cross in. He had the 2 or 3 opportunities when it was rolled back to him by Njai, and it was like, come on, just get it. And he took a touch, and once you take a touch, that split second to get the ball into the box, it's gone. And then he end up turning around and coming back. So if it was going to be slightly critical, it was just that, ever so slightly critical. But he had a really, really good game, and thought Dewsbury Hall was fantastic from start to finish. And Trisha had a good game as well. What did you make of Barry?
Yeah, he was good. He worked hard. And he got into channels and tried to run at them. Was unlucky, obviously, with the offside. But he tried, and he affected the game. And I think that's the most important thing, trying. He looked disappointed to come off. Probably because he thought he was coming off 5 minutes earlier. But fair enough. No, I thought he had the kind of game we've wanted him to have, where he just affects the play. He's busy, keeps the centre backs occupied, and something to build on. And I think the crowd appreciated that, and he was, he got a standing ovation when he went off, because fans are behind him. Contrary to some people's beliefs, fans are behind him. Fans do want to see him do well. Fans are invested in him. So it's important that he does his bit, and I thought he did do his bit, and it was important that it came in a game like that with a win. And if he just keeps going, I'm sure it'll click into place for him. But I think now, Moyes seeing that now can't take him out the side. I think he just affected the game more than Beto has done this season. So just keep going.
Yeah, I thought he linked the play really well. Decent in the air, isn't he? Good. Showed some nice footwork. I mean, the one where he skinned the lad below, saying to James before, skinned the lad below me, and I went down like, should have just played it off him for the next one for the corner. Tried to skin him as well, and fell over and hurt himself. If he should have just played it off him, he'd have got a corner, and everyone would have stood up, because he'd done really well to that point. But he was in the right place at the right time, scored the goal. Wasn't him who was offside. It's Illiman, so at least he was there to put it in. And it was, you're right, something to build on, and he's got to do his bit like that. He set himself a standard now, like a minimum, and that's what it's got to be. Go and be busy, run around. It was good in defending in our box as well. Cleared a couple of near post. you've got to do it and go and do your bits, and hopefully you'll start getting chances by getting in between the two posts. But he done well, and it was the right decision to come off as well. He was knackered. There was one just before he come off where they were knocking it and he was laboured running because he'd done a lot of running. And I know he looked a bit disappointed to go off, but that's, if his goal had stood, he'd have probably been quite happy jogging off. But it's that's the way it is. And the manager got, the Simons of the subs probably right at the weekend, and certainly that one because he looked knackered. He looked absolutely knackered when he come off. Good performance from Michael Keane and Tarkowski as well. They had decent performances, didn't he? Yeah,
they weren't up against much.
No, but Jimenez normally is decent against us though, isn't he? But he didn't really give him a kick. Or Muniz.
He didn't. Yeah, Muniz got injured, didn't he? Had to be taken off. But no, they were good. They were steady. As I said, they wasn't. Fulham are a team that lack a spark, aren't they? They haven't got that one player in them anymore. So, they were very comfortable. I don't know whether they were more comfortable because James Garner was playing here and they had someone to give the ball to. But they were trying that cross-field pass a few times as well, and it worked a few times. And that was their get out of not jail card, but just get the ball up the pitch, keep possession. And there's a couple of little things that were noticeable, I thought, on Saturday, like Pickford's distribution.
2 balls he played.
But it was like it was purposeful, wasn't it? It was like it was being done off the training field. And I think there was like just those little subtle changes. And I think, it come together for the right game.
Yeah, it did. And obviously got us back in the winning groove and 3 points off a European play, 3 points off a Champions League place, aren't they?
Not far.
Or whatever it is. So it's good to, we said this the other day, it was important to stick in that group. And obviously with West Ham and Forest winning, they were always winning them too this weekend. The games they had, it keeps anything away from, it keeps building away from that area, doesn't it? And that's what you've got to do. And we've got obviously the next 3 are tricky games. I think, tough games, United and Bournemouth away and Newcastle at home. Depends how we approach the Newcastle game. If we do it the way we can, we'll beat them as well because they're in no great shape.
No.
That's all at the moment. So yeah, it's good. I mean, probably the first time I can ever remember Everton going into 3 international breaks on the back of a win.
Yeah.
That's definitely not normal.
Yeah, must be a record.
And Moyes becoming only the 3rd manager ever to beat the same opponent 20 times, joining Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson in that band. So,
and can't beat some other teams.
Yes, mad, isn't it? It's mad. Well, away, not really. I think he probably has beat everyone, but it's winning away. But no, it was good. It was good. I mean, we talked about this last week. And then when Dave Feely was in on Thursday, he talked about it. But I thought the crowd were way better at the weekend. For a game that they didn't, their fans were silent, man. They were just enjoying the game like Fulham fans do, very inoffensive. But I thought...
all the cheese and biscuits on the way up.
Yeah, I thought the crowd really were very good at the weekend, trying to get it going. Needed, trying to give the players that little bit of energy when it needed it. Obviously, it's easier to do when you're winning and you're playing well, but that made a big difference.
I think it's easier to do when you're just seeing a team structured in the right way and changes have been made and you're happy with the side. I think that's a big thing. It's like we've always said it. Sometimes the atmosphere can be influenced at 2:00, now 1:45, whatever it is, by what the team is. And I think the fans, from what I could see, were quite happy with the team, quite happy with Garner playing right back, quite happy with Barry continuing up front. And I think most people went into the ground, looking forward to the game, thinking we can get something out of this. And I don't think there was many nerves or anything like that, because I just think most people were just waiting to sort of enjoy a game of football. They did, you know what I mean? They did have that feel of like, a traditional sort of just standard 1 goal in each half sort of kind of game. And Everton used to roll 10, 11 of those games out of season easily under Moyes. And if Everton can get back to that level again, I know it's not easy. The Premier League is a difficult place, and every team thinks it can win. But if Everton can do that, and it is a very tight Premier League, and we've seen that so far. Obviously Wolves are in a mess. And a couple of the promoted teams are starting maybe to sink back down again, but they're still not that far away from us points-wise.
No.
So it's just a case of building up, isn't it? And just keep on picking up results. And as I said, I think the only sort of nervy time in the game was maybe there was a little spell just before half time where we were just a bit lazy, I thought, getting out to the ball. And then when they made the subs, it just energised them a little bit and got them in a couple of times where and that was it. That was like, and I think that's the one thing, I think we spoke about it before, I think it's like the one thing David Moyes and managers of his ilk have got to start realising is that with the way the subs are now, you've got to be quicker to not quicker making subs, by the way, just quicker to assess the game. Because just freshening a team up with the quality. The players, the quality coming off the bench to replace is like for like. So what you're doing is you're getting a player on the pitch who's exactly the same, but their energy levels are like 25% better. So in a short spell, that can cost you, and we've seen it cost us this season. So I'd like to see Moyes just a little bit quicker to identify that, because I do think it's caught us out a couple of times this season, where you mentioned that, like, that tide, especially when, like, Taylor Boonham's only going to last 65 minutes because he hasn't played many games, where Barry might only last 70 minutes for a couple of games, but then obviously we want to start stretching that with more games. So if you've got a Taylor Boonham on the bench playing for 65 minutes, then let's get Mail and Roll on as quick as we can, to just keep giving those players those minutes. And I think that was all it. That was when they got in, wasn't it? They got in just around that time. They made the sub. And then we corrected it quite quickly. But you just got to watch in that little passage of play that you don't get done.
You did struggle, Mail, for the first 5 minutes, getting up to the speed.
That's it.
All the way twice. Just getting nicked. Just like looking, thinking, I've got time, and it was nicked off his foot, wasn't it? But then he got up to the speed, and he was good as well, obviously. He stretched him, and he was a bit of powerful running from him. Got the corner for the second goal, and had a run below me where he just glided past people and cut it back, and it got clear.
It does seem a little bit strange that he's not the one who got the nod. But if Moyes is looking at players training and Tim Boonham's going in every day and putting it in and just keeping his head down, then so be it. It just doesn't seem to be any sort of consistency, does there, on who's playing and who's not?
Maybe that suggests they're all at a similar level.
Maybe, yeah. And
in training, he's just trying to find out which one suits or whatever. And maybe Saturday was just one of those moments where he's looked and gone, well, Boonham's quite powerful. He does drive forward with the ball. And don't forget, it's his run into the box, and he lays it out to Michalenko, and then he should score. He misses his kick, but he starts that. Lays it out to Michalenko, gets back in, and it's the bar. He should score, and Adrissa does. I kind of think he made a charge into the box against Palace, which won the penalty. That, so he is an attacking player, and maybe he's just thought, today we need to be on the front foot, and that's what they've done. And will Boonham start at Old Trafford? I couldn't say yes, because it wouldn't surprise me if James Garner goes back in there and Jake comes in, because it's a away game, and he'll want to try to keep it nice and tight, and all that, and height-wise as well, which he did sort of point out at the weekend. It was a flip of a coin, because he was worried about the height, but Everton is still a big side. Jake just makes us obviously bigger, but James Garner's not exactly small. He's 6'1". He's not like, me, is he, going in to defend? So we'll see how long it continues for, but good win. And it just feels good when you go there and they're on it right from the first whistle, and you're enthused, then, aren't you? And you know that they'll get after them and stuff. So it has been good. It's been good over the weekend, and we've got 2 weeks now to talk about the greatest ever Everton side for 2 weeks until they have to play again. Yeah, and prove that they're not.
Well, we've got 2 weekends off. Doesn't get any more joyous.
Mal KK1 says a 2-0 win and no DJ. on the extra from the ground pad. What's going on?
I know. If any day you wanted a DJ, that was it. That was it. But no, glad to see there wasn't a DJ. There was just a mess at Sandhill Station.
What's the thing? James told me about this, and I got home in the quickest time I've ever got home.
Yeah, there was queues for like an hour or whatever
on the train.
after the game.
Why?
Because
cancel a couple of
garbage. Because Mersey are garbage. Yeah. That's why.
Fair play. No, because it was mad. Because when I walked, and we went for a celebratory ice cream in Costco. But we walked back, and it was like the easiest it's ever been.
From where?
From the ground. Just walked back. There was like, it was busy walking back, because it always is. When we went to Costco, we were in there.
Oh, you mean walking down?
Home.
Yeah, but that's not the same as getting the train, is it?
No, not the train. I'm saying, but my brother-in-law, my mother-in-law got the buses, and they were home like dead quick. Bus back into Liverpool, one on a bus home.
No, the trains were a joke.
Yeah,
so
it's just mad, isn't it? They have to sort that, obviously.
No, they're going to have to sort it.
They had it the week before with the rugby.
They're going to have to sort it. It's a farce. People throwing their hand in.
It's the biggest ever attendance we've had at the Hill Dickinson Stadium.
But it needs to be sorted, because it's getting silly. People are taking hours to get home in the cold. It's people queuing in it for an hour. I think that's the worst thing, isn't it? Queuing at 6:30, and the queue is massive. That people are just going to throw their hand in.
I mean, saying that, I don't think I got home till 7:15, did I? The game didn't finish till after 5 o'clock, did it? So it was like. No. I think I probably didn't get home till 6:30. And that was amazing for me, to be home an hour and a half. That's like nirvana, to be home that quick, because normally it's 2 hours after the match finishes for me to get home.
Yeah. After 7 for me, but that's self-inflicted, because I hang around the ground, which is good also.
Yeah. Brian Burns says, think you'll find entry races were on, hence the congestion, so stop moaning.
Has he though? I don't think he did. I think it was someone else. Or was it? Brian, well, that's if you want to. Well, that's great, but that doesn't solve anything, does it, mate? That stop moaning. No, people queuing for at 6:30. That's up to them to provide a better service.
Four cars, all in lines except entry, said Chris Williams.
People want to get home.
And Chris Williams did call it misery, Brian.
Yeah.
Sandbank Blue says, try living down south. Getting home before midnight's a bonus.
Yeah, but you live down south, we don't. Do you want me to say? That's like saying I've got to get a flight to Ireland or something. That's just the way it is, isn't it? But I tell you what, if you were getting a train from Lime Street and you needed a train from Sandhills to catch it, it'd be a different story, wouldn't it? Because then you'd be like, I missed me train. So
Toffee, absolutely, they're in crisis mode, mate. Absolutely. Well, that's what it feels like. They're saying it. There's a full-on interest.
Yeah, crisis mode. Just there's different levels, and when you hear them speaking at a certain level, there's no giddiness in the voices. Somber. It's a somber mood. I think they've all realised that spunking all that money on those two players for new contracts might be the stupidest thing that anyone's ever done in their lives.
And then spunking another 135 million on a striker they didn't need might be one of the stupidest things, which was very unlike Liverpool.
Also, German playmakers don't work in the Premier League. Name one. Ozil never worked.
He was hit and miss money.
Shut up, James. You weren't even born.
I'm not writing words off.
You don't even know you're born. I am. I'm writing them off because it doesn't really matter.
Gary Ward says howdy. Josh Oldfield said 3 points behind the league champions after 11 games.
That is without being like, that's mad. That is mad though, isn't it?
Someone would have said that in August.
That is mad.
Particularly after the Leeds game. Yeah. That in the next international break in November.
If someone would have said
3 points behind, you'd be going.
If someone would have said that after the derby, you'd be like, what? You would have thought we'd gone on some kind of incredible run.
That's what I mean, yeah. That's what I mean. But fair play. Johnny H says...
Ballack wasn't a playmaker.
Powerful.
He was like a number 8.
I loved Michael Ballack.
Yeah, he was boss.
He wasn't great.
But he
for
was
Chelsea.
built like a.
He wasn't great for Chelsea.
Yeah.
There was games when he was amazing, but there was other games where he was way better for Germany, Munich. But Johnny H is good win. I thought Fulham were poor. That aside, Barry continues to develop. Perspective is needed. Whether you win or lose, the side and the manager need to develop and improve. I want more time for our new players, but you have to trust the manager. And I'm not sure how patient our fan base will be with the new young players.
See, I think the mood. Certainly, I think there's a very sort of not patient mood, but I think once you're in the ground, I think fans are just watching a game regardless, aren't they? It's not like
got the top on,
you're just watching players play. And I thought, certainly where I sit, I think people want to see Barry do very well, and I think whoever comes on the pitch, you question the manager during the week about that kind of thing. I think not when you're at the match. I think when you're at the match, I think you just get on with it. You know, no one sort of, when you're winning 2-0, no one says, oh, where was Carlos Alcaraz, or why didn't Tyler Dibblin come on? They're question marks for the week, aren't they, or whatever. So,
we just got what we all want at the weekend.
Yeah.
We went, all the lads put a shift in, and we won the game, and the crowd were good. That's all you want. You go, everyone have a good go, play well, and obviously we won 5.
But
but only 2 counted.
Tyrone McPartland was like a really good example of that, though. Signs the season before, and there's no sort of, and he's a young lad, and you know, I know a lot of people thought it was just a special deal, but you know, the lad's come in and he's given games last year, then got an injury, and then for Moyes, he could have been out really quickly, but he's obviously doing enough to impress him to start Premier League games. And hopefully that just builds. And then if that means that someone else is not playing a new player, that's just the way it is, isn't it? It's about the best players playing.
Force your way in. The way it is. Tom Max's afternoon all. I thought we looked well balanced on Saturday. Every player gave a good account of themselves, and with a little luck and a bit more care, could have bagged a couple more goals. Now on to Man United and give them a game. Yeah. Ian the Blue says, what's your thoughts on certain Premier League players starting to wear gloves? It's not that cold.
It's not cold at all.
And then he makes a comment.
Not cold at all. But, you know, listen, the thing about it is, though, if that makes them feel comfortable in the game, then so be it. You know, we're just a kind of guy wears tights. Now, I'm sure that's for a medical reason. But if that makes him feel more confidence in his own body, then so be it. And if players wearing gloves just makes them feel better, then who cares?
Mark Max says O'Brien's goal versus Spurs was less interference than Andy Roberts. I agree with you, mate. Ian the Blue says, have you seen the cop-out that does the commentary on them, the Irish lad? He's well and truly lost his head. He knows what he's doing. Derek says, afternoon, donning the blue tinted glasses. With better fullbacks and more potency up front, we'd be in the mix. I'm not saying we'd be there or thereabout come May, but I'm not saying get either.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's good that you're speaking like that, isn't it?
I think what it shows is if we did have fullbacks, then we'd be a much better team, wouldn't we? Yeah. That's the simple fact. If we had a right back who could get up and down, but James, that could be James Garner's position for all we know. That could be a playmaking right back. Who knows?
Mark Max said a Fulham fan channel summed up the game perfectly. He said we got all the decisions from the referee and still lost, and the only chance we had was a questionable free kick that was given. Yeah, I mean, what was that for in the first half? He gave a free kick, he gave a foul against Michael Keane. That was never he just won an header. And then when they were taking it, he just blew up and gave them on the to the box.
Tyrone McPartland had hold of his shirt. Right, no, just listen.
Go on.
Tyrone McPartland had hold of his shirt, and he did have hold of his shirt. We could see it right in front of us, and he had hold of his shirt, and the player just moved and then just fell over, and then the ref caught it. And he did have hold of his shirt, but the way he's done it is dead clever. Actually, it was really clever because he just moved and then just literally fell over, and the ref's caught it out the corner of his eye and gone, "You've pulled his shirt."
Catch a lot of other things.
No, but it's clever though, isn't it?
That's he didn't catch. Lukic just webbing Dewsbury Hall from behind when he was on a bucket.
Well, that was a red card. He did see it.
Shit.
He actually did see it. That's the way. It's not as bad as the one yesterday on Dan Burn. He done it twice just to confirm it for him.
Yeah.
Told you about Dan Burn, didn't I? No, it was that was a red card. It was a red card because he booked him for the same thing. Like if he'd booked him for something else, then
that would think about the booking was though. He'd already cleaned out Dewsbury Hall on the edge of our box, which was a bad challenge. It was late, and he didn't book him for that. And then we knocked it forward, and he fouled, so he got booked. So he did. You know what I mean? It was,
and then they done the Al Canate, didn't he? Yeah. They took him off at half time. They weren't stupid.
Daniel Church says if Brien was offside, so was Van Dijk. Thought Barry was great on Saturday. His goal will come, hopefully 90th minute winner at Old Trafford. Barry says, I'm fervently hoping that those who dismissed Tierno Barry completely after his start will now start to realise he's very much a work in progress and the talent is there. Both Joe Royle and Graham Sharp were dismissed by knee-jerk critics early in their Everton careers. Thankfully, the reaction when Barry went off indicates that these kind of critics are in the minority. Well, they are, because it's social media. People jumping on and having a go like they criticise. In the ground where there's 50,000 Evertonians, or thereabouts, all clapped him, cheered him. When his name is read out, cheered him. So quite clearly, the majority back him. And it's up to him now to do it, isn't it? Steve P says that was the most convincing performance, in my opinion, and having Garner at right back just proves what we've been saying all season. Now imagine me go and get an actual right back to play there. Yeah. We go up a level with 2 attacking full-backs, guaranteed. Yeah, well, it's the willingness to go forward, isn't it? We've seen Villa yesterday with Luca Dean. Whatever you think of him, but he's high. Every time he's so far up the pitch. They had Matty Cash on the other side, should have scored straight away. So far up the pitch, and yet ours are 2 lads trying to do it. Michalenko is a defensive fullback, but he's trying to add more to his game, and it was actually a good cross for Tarkowski for the goal, for the header at the bar. He's got to do that more. Jake O'Brien, it's not really in his skill set to be going down whipping crosses in, is it?
No.
So if you can evolve like that, of course you can. What's this going on here? Bill says, good win. Finally, Davey makes the tweaks necessary and a good shift from Barry. Hopefully, he keeps adapting. Seamus Gold didn't stand with him, Jay said. I hate the way VAR looks for any reason to disallow goals now. It's overly pedantic.
To be honest, the linesman disallowed all the goals.
The Dewsbury Hall one was a goal. Yeah, it was.
All the linesman disallowed all the goals on Saturday. VAR didn't really get involved.
I couldn't believe Tarkowski's one was
a belter, wasn't it?
Because I was thinking, he's behind the play when he was off. He's off as the cross goes in, and he wins the header as well. Yeah.
That's why he's offside.
So, but it's the way it is. Steve B says, Baz, you're on Diabati, the defensive midfielder from Salzburg. Have a look at him. I'll have a look, mate. He's like a young guy. I'll have a look. Of course I'll have a look. Derek says 100% about Alcaraz. I'd like to see him in Dewsbury Hall's position, with Dewsbury Hall further back, which is his natural position. But no chance of this happening, especially at Old Trafford. Okay. Daniel Church says we were dead loud on Saturday. We're getting frustrated thinking, if we score, will it count? I have a season ticket in the lower south for which I wanted for safe standing. Still getting told to sit down until I told these lads to fuck off. Yeah. Safe standing, mate, and even the steward said I'm allowed to stand as it's safe standing. What? Where I sit, I can see like a lot of the south stand, and a lot of the south stand, they are standing by me. They're all stood up. So I don't know.
I'll never get it. I don't even know why this is like an argument or a conversation. No. I'll never understand anyone who got a ticket for in there and is sitting down. I'll never get it.
It was said the minute that was there, what was the intention for that. And if you're in there and you don't like people standing up, you need to be making sure you change your seat at the end of the season, because that change will come where it's only standing in there. And if you end up being 2 or 3 years in and Everton change it, which they will, because they want to increase the capacity, you're going to be devastated, because you're going to have to, you're not even going to have a seat. So
it's literally why I didn't get it go in there. It's literally why I didn't go in there, because you outgrow that kind of thing, and if it's a seat for the rest of your life, then you know, it's mad. Also, can I just have the south stand, and this is particularly for you, the lower right, there's one thing you need to start doing, and I don't care, I will bollock anyone. When we've got corners, you need to start singing Everton, Everton, because it's fucking shit that you're not doing that. It's a time-old tradition, Baz, and they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
It is a time.
And they've got to start doing it.
Taylor's oldest.
It is very much. Things like that have seemed to have been lost in the move because of the mix. People have got to get those traditions back, and one of those is very much the corners. Got to start doing it. We were doing it in the Upper South, for fuck's sake, with all our men and women. Some of us, people's legs have gone and everything. It's a mess up there. People are still getting up 20 minutes.
Do we know how the poor person who took ill was?
No idea.
They were working on, haven't heard anything. No idea. But hopefully, if you know them or whatever, hopefully they're fine, and whatever it was, they got sorted. Yeah. And congratulations to that 98-year-old Everton fan who was there at the weekend.
Fair play.
98. The picture of him was just there like that.
Yeah.
Charming. Like, you must be unbelievable.
What about Mike Clone on the pitch?
Yeah.
What was all that about?
Peter McPartland.
People were looking around.
You there? I was like, you pretending you're, cosplaying as a soldier there just to hit the bar.
Do.
Paul Davies says,
maybe, a lot of pressure, that.
Maybe the DJ wasn't available.
You had a wedding, a bar mitzvah.
Maybe, yeah. Rob Williams said, I went home to McGull North from Sandhills and it was the easiest I've ever known, and I had a seat.
I know, but there's a lot of this though. I've seen a lot of this. I'm all right. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I've seen a bit of that, like people going, I just walked to James. It's like, not everyone's capable, are they?
No, but if he's just gone off, he might just be saying, look, I didn't find it the way.
Maybe he got off before the game finished though, do you know what I mean? I think the point being is that we all want a service that gets us. That, people expect a queue, but I think what we want is just a service that gets people to where they need to go within 10, 15 minutes of arriving at the station. And therefore, they get home at a decent time. Because what's going to happen is, and I'm already seeing this, my half fella's he's not going. He's just not bothering. He's like, no, I'll leave it this week. Because they know they can't park. And it's like, I'll get the train, and then people are not getting home for like an hour and a half after the match, and they're just like, I'm sure you get to a certain age where you're like, what, and if it's like that and for a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday, then what?
Just a full day.
What look are you going to get out after on a night game? Or the next game being a 5:30 game? That means you're not getting home till like 9:30, 10 o'clock. For a lot of people, that's far too late for them. So it's something that I think. I'm not, by the way, in no way am I blaming the football club. This is completely on the City Council, Merseyrail, and the Metro Mayor. The Metro Mayor, who said up till this time last year, basically was going, I wasn't sure if it was ever going to get finished or not.
He should have been binned after that.
It needs something needs sorting. But what worries me is, right, apart from like bendy buses or gliders, there doesn't seem to be any plans for like the future. Now, if you're creating a new infrastructure, you obviously have got a plan 3-4 years ahead, especially for something like a rail network, especially when it's so complicated as well, because this is not a case of going, well, let's just move the train station further down. You can't, because actually the more you go closer to the city centre, it becomes a one-track railway. It's only when it gets to Sandhills that it splits for an island. That's been there for years. Right. So what can you do with it? And that's what they've got to figure out. There's a lovely piece of land there opposite the old heritage. Bosh piece of land where you think someone had brains, they could build a bus, rail, good infrastructure. But the problem is, it's only a one-track thing. So I don't know, but the fact that there's like no plans other than this bendy bus, and where's this bendy bus going to stop? Because you can't get near the place. So people should have a service that gets them in and out of that place as fast as possible. Listen, people get paid a lot of money to know how to do this, so someone's got to come up with it. Or what will happen is, the next time there's a vote, the next time there's an election, someone will use this as one of their promises, and they'll get in because they'll promise people something they haven't got.
Dawn says the soccer bus to Kirby was a lot better after the match with one-way traffic on Boundary Street, but should been better signage to say where to get the bus. Okay. Stan simply says trains shite.
There you go.
Okay. Let's Be Having You says, afternoon lads. Well, that was a much needed win to settle everyone down again, with a 5-point swing either way, going from delight to despair, and with plenty of room for improvement, especially from Barry and Beto. Then I'm sure we can push for a top half finish. On another good note, good to see the Reds back to losing ways.
Fair enough.
Jake says, James Garner, permanent position for me, should be right back. He gets more space, gets in better positions. His strengths are shooting and crossing and not breaking the lines with passing. Everton had Irabunum, who, whatever you say about him, will get the ball and drive forwards and is physically superior to James Garner. And having a right back who's comfortable on the ball, as James Garner is vital and could change the entire way we play. Brian Garside says, people must understand that we are no longer in Walton, surrounded by streets and main roads, but on the Dock Road. Would the Moaners prefer to be back at Goodison? The longer travelling time is part of the price to be paid for having the stadium.
It's not, but
sited where it is.
It's not, but
certainly local transport should have planned in advance. They had 3 years.
That end bit I agree with. The end bit I agree with, mate. But I don't think. I know we spoke about this last week. People have given more time to go in the game and stuff. I totally agree with you, but just basic public transport is just like just going. We're just going to shut a lane on Great Howard Street to accommodate the buses, and putting a bridge over the railway station, and they're just not solutions. They're not long-term solutions anyway. Something needs to be looked at properly.
Emma says, when we have on the show about ticketing, loads of tickets on resale again. But loads of tickets might be on resale no matter what. The biggest attendance at the stadium at the weekend.
Are those tickets, Emma? I've not looked, and are those tickets any more expensive because they're on the resale? That's so, because I don't really see what the issue is if they're on the resale.
If they're on the resale, and we've
go on, Jay.
You'll see some of them are like 60, but then some are 75.
No, but what I mean by that is
that's the only difference.
They can't be inflated, can they?
No.
So
75 is the most.
So what's the issue then?
Well, there's 31,000 on a waiting list, and if there's 50, 60, 70 tickets available, why aren't people buying them?
Yeah.
No, but
I'm saying, what I mean is, if they're there to be bought, and we've got this huge waiting list, why aren't people buying them?
I think when we were going to do the video about ticketing, and we sort of just left it just to see how it played out, it was more about the gaps in the ground. I think a lot of those gaps have gone now. Those things we were. Don't get me wrong. I still look at the posh seats and see loads of empty seats there. That's up to people at Everton to work harder to sell those tickets. But the general seats in the ground, I think, are getting sold now. And if they're ending up on a resale, then I think that's a good thing, isn't it? It's up to people. I think Everton you just mentioned there, the waiting list. I think one of the things is maybe if Everton had more season ticket holders, and maybe that's what they'll do next season, then that is a section of people who know they're going to the game every single week. We've spoke about this. If people think I'm not getting a ticket and they already plan to do something on a Saturday and a ticket comes up, they might be like, especially when you're talking about the travel situation as well, you go, oh, hang on, I could just go home and watch the match or just go to the pub. That means I've got to get down. And if you haven't planned for something in your mind's already and like, I'm not going to the game. Whereas I think when you've got a season ticket, you know you're going there every couple of weeks and that becomes part of your life then. Or, your missus wants to do so. I can't. I'm going here on Saturday, because that's the other thing. Your missus might say to you, "You're not going to the game." Your missus might say, "Oh, can you take me here? Can you take me to B&Q, whatever it is?" And you go, "Oh no, I'm going to the match." Then you're in the doghouse, aren't you? So I think it seems like ticketing has sorted itself out in many ways. If people want to go to the match, they need to keep on checking the resale, I would imagine.
Jay Ratcliffe says, funny how the disallowed Liverpool goals making all the headlines, but ours against Spurs and Fulham have zero traction. Well, Fulham won't get any traction because we won the game. If Liverpool had one disallowed and won 3-0, they wouldn't get any traction. Spurs was a joke. And people like Jay Bothroyd, surprised he knows what a goal is.
Has he been HMRC'd you?
He will. Yeah, he was the first one.
Was
he
he?
was the whole reason. He was the player who HMRC...
I think Sky should immediately sack you if you've been HMRC.
Well, HMRC started the whole thing because of Jay Bothroyd.
Yeah.
Jay Bothroyd...
Oh, at Arsenal,
why he got HMRCs was he said Arsene Wenger said he was the greatest footballer.
And he was gonna take the 10 off Bergkamp.
And he didn't play single minute for them. That's how great he was. But there you go. So he said Everton should have been this lad and Liverpool shouldn't. So he's a tit. But yeah, that's
CMRS says one thing about the resellers: junior tickets are full price. Maybe that's something you need to go the fans forum with.
Yeah,
and we need to start because the thing about that is that can be changed if enough people bang the drum. If enough people start kicking off about it with the fans forum, then that's where that can get back to the club. This is somewhere these are genuine things where you've got to stand together and go, we need to get this. And I think that is a genuine thing. If you want kids to go the match, not everyone can afford to go the match.
No, of course,
and now and again, a ticket might pop up and you get to...
You shouldn't have to pay
You shouldn't have to pay full price. Everton should be looking at it going, look at my niece has been the last couple... My niece went on Saturday in one of our seats and all she does is, you've got to keep her occupied because she's not really asked. She just eats. She went back. My dad took her back yesterday, and my nephew to the cafe. And all they're doing is eating. They just eat the donuts. They love it.
Fair play to you.
And you got to know if you take a kid, you're going in the club shop.
Of course, yeah.
You're not buying from over the road. You're buying from inside the ground. You're getting them. You're going to get them probably 2 meals. You're going to get drinks. You're going to make that money. Whereas a fella might go in and not pay the extra and go, I'm not buying from here. I'll go over to Blue House and get a pint, and then I'll go to Costco and get something to eat there, and Team Costco. But the kids, listen, Whitney said it. Kids are our future.
They are,
and if you get them into it now, then they're gonna exactly teach.
But no, you're right. You shouldn't have to pay full price for a kid's ticket. Sorry. Mark Mack says, I wonder if the club have a plan for when we play an actual rival with exiting the stadium. If we're in the north stand, you cross paths with the away fans.
They'll keep them in.
Yeah, they will. Rob Williams says, I'm 68 with bad knees and I was there to the end. Good lad.
Top man. Good lad. Can I ask a question of everyone, and you are included on this? I'll need the definitive answer.
Go on.
Is there anywhere after the game to drink in the lower?
No. And I had a conversation on Saturday with the steward who was very nice, but he was like, because he was kicking us out.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this needs to change, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because we were told this, and he was like, the club won't pay extra to keep them open. And I was like, well, they will, because they'll be forced to. I said, you can go upstairs, but 10,000 people can't go up.
But you can't go upstairs, can you?
Up, no.
Okay.
Well, I don't... To be honest...
No, because we seen the gate by the escalator open, right? We were coming out, and the gate was open, and we weren't sure if they'd been letting people up.
I don't know if I walked to the right and back round to where I come in, where the escalator is, if I could just go upstairs. I don't know.
So
I'm wrong, but I said to the steward, why isn't there a bar open on the east stand downstairs? So when we go down, it can sell beer if it want, whatever, but you can get a coffee, because people are just going out there. The idea should be, we know there's issues with the transport, right? The idea should be, keep as many people as you can and let them dissipate like evenly across that thing, so that there's never any real issues. It's pitch black coming out the ground and walking like we do. And keep people, just say it's another half an hour. You can get a coffee, have a tea, have a beer. Now, okay, the fan zone, you can get stuff on it, but what about, okay, Saturday was fine. Yeah. But what about when it's pissing down? You're standing outside.
The Spurs game?
Like the Spurs game.
So in the upper, if you're in the south, or anyone in the upper, can go to the bar in the south. We stayed in the south for half an hour after the game on Saturday. Done my video, upload it. No issues. Just chill out. Let the crowd go. And I think it's just, number one, I can't understand why there's no equivalent in the lower. I do understand about not letting people come up, because
that's fair
everyone could come up and suddenly you've got. I think the bar at the south, up in the south stand, is the only bar open in the upper. But I just can't for the life of me understand why Everton as a club aren't keeping somewhere open downstairs for people to stay. Advertising I think my missus got a text saying, "Come, I got the text for the first game, but I haven't had it since." And just saying to people, it's open for an hour. Come and have a drink. Come and have something to eat. Put special offers on to keep people in the ground. But I just can't understand for the life of me why that isn't all over the ground. It's absolutely crazy. By the time we got out the ground, it was nice and quiet. Nice walk back to where we were parked on Pall Mall. Got away from the stadium really, really quickly. Had to like sort of wait on about 10 minutes on one road, which is a single lane carriage to take you up to Vauxhall Road, and that's about it. And then we were away as quick as we would be if we were at Goodison. And I just don't understand why, you know, why. So like Dave Vitti was at the game I saw him beforehand, but I said to him like, come and see us after the game. Whatever. He had to get off, but it's like that's what it's good for. If you don't see someone, come and meet us after the game for half an hour. Come and see us for half an hour after the game.
Got up there, he wasn't around. That's it.
Andy Burnham's there.
This is celebrating. What we were told, though, weren't we?
Yeah,
we were told that this was going to happen on all of it, on each level.
Yeah,
and it doesn't. It doesn't. So I
can't understand that. That's the one thing I know we've been talking about. I'm hoping someone listens. It's like, I just don't understand. Pay people an extra hour because there was loads of people in the Upper South. No one got, like, loads of people got off, obviously, but loads of people were still in that bar. It's on my video. If you watch my vlog, at the end of it,
if you opened a bar there and it was advertised, this bar's open, you can get tea, coffee, you can get a beer or soft drink, whatever, and it's open till say 5:30 on a 3 o'clock. You know, half an hour after the game ends or something. People would go, no, okay, if you open it and no one uses it after 2 or 3 games, you close it and go, no one's using it.
But yeah,
well, people will use it.
People are using
people it. People will use it.
But the thing about us is, obviously, we're coming down the south. We go straight down into the bar. So obviously, we don't have to go anywhere. We're going straight into the bar and we can see it's open. I think most people have clocked on now that they can walk around from the other side and just come to the bar if they want. But I just can't understand why there's nowhere downstairs that can be left open, or why don't they, or just pop up bar
spaces though. The exit I go out of is next to the shop. It's huge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So there's, I don't know. Stan Smith says the club caused the mix shite way of ticket allocation. He's put Lower Glad equals Lower Glad. I don't know what that means, but then he's got Lower South should have been made up of Lower Glad, Park End, Bullens, Main, Family Enclosed. They did a good job of destroying the 12th man. Rob Williams saying, I'm not saying it's perfect and it should be better, but it is getting better by...
No, it is. But you should always be striving for more.
Toffee Donut. It feels like you just want to cause people to choose Njai or Grealish every day. Njai's better than Grealish. Well, I'll just give you the fact, right? No player has created as many chances as Jack Grealish or registered as many assists from that. He's created 20 plus chances and got 4 assists, and Njai's nowhere near that. He scored 4 goals. And Njai is fantastic, and we love him. Why do we have to choose? No. Jack Grealish is brilliant. Illiman and Njai is brilliant. You've said who's worth more in the transfer market. If they were both 25, it'd be Jack Grealish still. But they're not. One's 30 and one's 25. So it should be Illiman and Njai right now. But Jack Grealish is brilliant, and so's Njai. So why do we have to choose one or the other? They're both really good. Let's enjoy them. Then he says, and he's right, the refs in this country are garbage. Another good goal chalked off for Dewsbury Hall. Howard Webb has made something already horrendous 10 times worse. You're absolutely spot on. And because it happened to the shite last night, more attention will be shed on the matter. Yeah, you're spot on. They have made it worse. They've made it worse. They're doing things they said they were never ever going to do, which is re-refereeing games. We saw it with the Spurs game the other week. Jake O'Brien's header, the referee sees nothing wrong with it, lines and doesn't give anything. It's a clear header. The goalkeeper's clear-sighted. You can't keep it out because it's a good header, and they re-referee it. Don't mind it for an elbow off the ball or you've missed something, someone throws a punch. That's what it should be for. But they're using it to re-referee, go back and go, we'll take that back, take the game back 20 seconds, right? That was you've done a 360 pirouette on the halfway line and you weren't looking, but you stood, caught the corner of the lad's boot, but you carried on running with the ball. That's a foul now, which it isn't a foul because it's not a foul anywhere else in the world until you start throwing in stupid slow-mos of what's going on. People going over the top. You see, what makes me laugh with VAR, right? That tackle by Try Hume the other night on Grealish, which was a terrible tackle.
Yeah, it was awful.
Could have been a leg breaker.
Awful.
And nothing said about it. Moyes was fuming, nothing said about it. And this isn't even Everton, but Fulham when they scored that goal at Chelsea. The lad is literally doing a drag back with the ball. And you're not looking and he plants his foot back and goes with it. That's not a foul.
No.
Doesn't matter if you catch him like that. It's not a foul. It's never been a foul. And in my eyes, it never will be a foul.
No.
A foul is you intentionally going over the top of the ball on someone. It's not a foul. And now they're interfering with everything. And it's nonsense. So, Paul Davies says, my missus already knows Everton come first in my house. Dublin Kev says, dead right, Ped, I got a call the other day at 13:40 offering me a ticket that I'd turned down, as it wouldn't have been worth the panic of getting there and in for kick-off. Charlie Freak says, like the clocks, they should put the games back an hour so you'd get home earlier. What about that with the timings? Make the game...
That sounds absolutely fucking stupid. Doesn't make any sense.
No, but if they put, well, it does if they put the clocks back so it goes dark an hour earlier. Why did Everton just kick off at 2 o'clock on Saturday?
It's because we're not Germany.
You know, it does make sense. Brandon says doesn't seem to be anywhere in the lower south selling anything
That's
after
crazy.
full time.
That's crazy.
It's just the toilet.
That's crazy. I just don't understand that.
No,
I just don't understand what Everton are thinking. And if you ask them, they'd probably come up with some really stupid reason, or say, well, you go out onto the plaza so you can get what you want out there. And it's like, hang on, you were not at the Spurs game when it was like blowing a gale and pissing down. People just want to stand at a bar, watch the Arsenal game was on. It was that everyone was dead happy. What do people do when they're happy? They spend more money. They go, oh, it's great, this, I'll stay here. People, I mean, I don't know what time the last person would have left. But to me, that's the idea, isn't it? That's civil. Makes sense.
I just thought, like, you come down and people might go, you know what, I'll have a coffee, or I'll have a cup of tea, and we'll have a chat, or I'll grab a beer, or whatever, and we have 20 minutes here, just let it clear a little bit. You're under shelter. That, to me, makes sense. And people will. And once people see other people getting served, they'll go over and buy stuff. It's just natural. It's human nature. There's toilets there, so you can use the toilet if you need to, whatever. I just don't get it because it was sold to us.
But what I'm saying is, though, we are doing that. We are upstairs. We're doing that. That's the mad thing.
No one's
we're doing that. We're just having. It's boss. Honestly, I
just think it's mad.
I just think it's absolutely crazy.
You're leaving money on the table, and a lot of it. In my opinion,
it's crazy, and especially with last week I said this on one of the shows, and I was like, you look at the state of the roads, you look at the state of the rail. Like, if you can just amble down rather than all leg out the ground, that to me just makes total sense. It's like it's
so dark and there's so many people walking down there, right, that it's if it was just a little bit clearer, it's fine, but because there's that many people, and there's just one way to get away from it, isn't there? You know, at Goodison we didn't have this because people dispersed everywhere in different directions. It's not like that.
I'd be the time I stay in the ground, we'd be stuck in traffic. Yeah. It's as simple as that. We'd be stuck in traffic for that 25 minutes or whatever. So...
No, that's it. I'm not even doing it because we get off and we'll go and get what we get. But the club are missing a massive... In my opinion, the club are missing a big opportunity. But... And then Jay Radcliffe says, Pep put me on the floor with laughter for berating Fulham fans for eating cheese and biscuits on their way to a game. They're just there for a good time, aren't they? They're there for a good time.
It's just Fulham. Yeah.
They're Fulham. They don't have that pressure. And you know what? Who's to say they got it wrong? They're just turning up, enjoying a little game of footy and getting off. James Farrelly says, hey, lads, just wondering if anyone's having a problem getting tickets in the ballot.
I don't know. We're not in the ballot, mate.
Don't know.
James, you go on the ballot, don't you?
I've been in the ballot twice and I've got them, but it's also really easy to get them in the resale.
There you go. Start using the resale, but I get it if you've got kids. Like, I get that issue if you've got kids. Like,
Emma says the Pims Brigade. She's called Fulham fans.
I don't think think she's wrong.
Fair enough. Right, there you go. Right, we're going. So we'll see Premier members for the final word later. Take it easy, everyone. Enjoy your day. Bye.